More than a dozen people arrested after trying to break through a police barricade near the presidential palace in the Philippines. Other than a skirmish between protesters and law enforcement, tens of thousands held mostly peaceful rallies in Metro Manila and other major cities in the country. Their rallying cry a strong condemnation of corruption that sunk billions of dollars worth of government flood control projects. CNN's Buena Bernal was at a protest site today.
Jail the corrupt. This was the resounding chant of protesters here and in major cities nationwide, expressing indignation over the possible connivance of a number of lawmakers, private contractors and public works officials that potentially robbed billions of dollars in anti-flood infrastructure here in Southeast Asia's most typhoon-prone country. Thousands showed up to support the anti-corruption measures demanded, including institutionalizing or making permanent through law the independent body created by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to investigate these anomalies. Those who couldn't be present in these protest sites were urged to display white ribbons in their properties. Protest organizers I spoke to say they refuse to allow their messaging of condemning corruption across administrations to be hijacked by political factions, including supporters of Vice President Sara Duterte, who may benefit from the resignation or ouster of President Marcos.
We're also committed to peaceful protest. No, the most we've seen is maybe some slight defacing of property, which I think does not cross the line towards any violence. Organizers of this protest, as well as many of the other protests around the country and even around Metro Manila, are also committed to the constitutional order. No one is asking for any regime change.
Still, another faction calls for President Marcos to resign. Another faction is also calling for the resignation of all government officials. Police officers dispersed groups of protesters in capital Manila following commotions. Over a dozen were arrested. In an unprecedented move, the government's human resource arm allowed for the first time in recent history public sector employees to join these mass demonstrations, a move that was welcomed by protest organizers who were also civil servants.
Ordinary civil servants are encouraged to participate mainly because they want people to see that there are just bad eggs among civil servants, and the larger number of civil servants are actually honest and trustworthy.
Motorists passing by the protest venue are honking their horns in support of the anti-corruption demands. And despite the afternoon sudden downpour, crowds continue to swell. President Marcos himself said he would participate in the protests if he was not president. But the People Power Monument, where we are, is in honor of that peaceful revolt that ended what analysts describe as the kleptocracy of his late father and namesake, the former President Ferdinand E. Marcos Sr. And amid the plurality of views of protesters, their common demand is accountability over what they say has been systemic corruption across administrations. Buena Bernal, CNA, Metro Manila.